YouTube, how's it going? Frogs Angels is back with some more NBA content. Free agency is set to begin in a couple days, and it's already heating up. All the news and rumors, the madness, it's heating up. Trade rumors, all kinds of fun stuff. I'm going to break it down, give some final predictions where these top free agents could go and where I think they will most likely go. So before we get into it, subscriber goal. It's 10,000 subscribers. If you haven't clicked that button yet, please do so to help us out. It'd be much appreciated. But on to Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball could be traded to clear some space, clear some room for these top players. I mean, how many are they going to get? I don't know if I'm buying into this. I mean, he could be traded, but I don't think I'm buying it. That's the main thing I want to talk about here is, yeah, they could trade maybe a future first to get rid of some guys, some contracts like Luol Deng. But there's been discussions of they're having to give up Lonzo, maybe for somebody to take in a bad contract. I just don't think it happens. I think this is like the last thing on their list that'll be done. Like they're gonna go through, trade some bad contracts, and if they absolutely have to, then they will trade Lonzo Ball to make sure they can get rid of bad contracts to bring in LeBron James, to bring in Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, whatever it is. But that's if they land all those guys. There's been some rumors about them trading Lonzo possibly. I don't think it happens. I think they're still very high on him. I don't think they want to do it. But we'll see. That'll be pretty crazy if he's already on a new team after 1 year. But again, I don't think it's likely. I really don't think it happens. But we'll see. Nuggets are supposedly signing Nikola Jokic 5 years, $146 million, maybe a little bit more than that. So obviously they had a team option on him. They declined it, which usually you see that picked up, but I guess some nice guys over there in the Nuggets front office. They're going to give the guy the money he deserves right now. They don't want to make him unhappy, want to keep him happy, want to keep him balling. He's only 23 years old, so I mean it's a lot of money. But you're going to see some ridiculous amount of money being thrown around to just mediocre, average players. And for this guy, the way he's playing and him being 23 years old makes sense. So I don't expect him to go to any other team. I expect the Nuggets to get him back. They were nice enough to offer a bigger contract. They could have just held him on that contract, his current very low salary contract for another year if they really wanted to. But so I think there's respect both ways. I think the Nuggets really want him. I think he really wants to be in Denver. So it sounds like a contract around these figures, 5 years, $146.5 million is what I'm hearing, is very likely to happen. So good for them. Good for them. Next up, Kawhi Leonard. Is he going to get traded? So on the right side, a lot of these next few guys I'm going to be talking about, the right side of their picture are the teams I think are most likely, the more likely landing spots, and the left side still should be discussed, could happen, but not as likely as the right side team. So we got his current team, the Spurs. Could he stay? The Celtics and the Lakers are the two teams that are involved in the most trade talks with the Spurs to get Kawhi Leonard. And then the left side, I kept the Cavs up there. I mean, there's been rumors they can trade for him, try to get LeBron to stay. In the Sixers, there was rumors that the Sixers were very interested in too. Could they get him and LeBron? They do have a lot of cap space, but they would have to cut a good amount more if they got both those guys. So I kept those two teams up there. But again, I think the teams on the right side are the most likely. I'm still surprised with I mentioned it before, the Celtics. I do not think they should trade for him. What would the trade be? Jaylen Brown, I heard, has got to be involved in that. Does Gordon Hayward get traded after a year? Does that satisfy the Spurs, knowing that he's coming off that injury? Rozier, possibly. I know the Spurs could cut Patty Mills' contract. Pretty good size contract for just a backup point guard. And then they can gain Rozier. That's just my thoughts. Is a future first involved? Possibly. The Spurs got to want Jason Tatum or a player like that, Kyrie Irving. They got to be asking about those two players, but they got to be off limits. But the Celtics, I think they're heading in the right direction. They didn't even have Kyrie and Gordon Hayward. I don't think they should do this trade. I mean, Kawhi Leonard's been a guy that hasn't really been able to stay on the court all that much either. So I don't know. I really like the Celtics' future. I don't like them doing this deal. I mean, we have to see what the deal is, but I'm not a big fan of it. Lakers could still do it to get him with LeBron, or him, LeBron, Paul George. I don't know. I don't know why DeMarcus Cousins really isn't involved in that. I think they can bring in Cousins for LeBron. I'm not saying Cousins, LeBron, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard, something like that. No. If I were them, I would look at LeBron and Cousins first. I mean, Cousins you don't have to trade for. You just got to clear some space if you're getting LeBron too. But kind of going off topic here. So Spurs. I think Kawhi stays on the Spurs at the end of all this. I don't. If I had to put money on it, I'm saying I really don't know. I keep hearing the Celtics, and I'm saying no, there's no way. But it keeps coming up. The Celtics are in advanced talks with them. So what do I know? My prediction is the Spurs. He stays on the Spurs. No trade happens. Maybe I wouldn't rule the Spurs out. Bringing in a bigger name guy to satisfy Leonard, maybe. So if I had to put money on it, he stays. But we will see. We'll see if a trade happens. On to LeBron James, the king. So, again, the right side, team he's most likely to end up on, and the left side, teams I'm not ruling out. As you can see, the Spurs and the Pelicans are over there. Like I said, the Spurs could just throw everybody off, pull a wild card move, keep Kawhi, and get him a LeBron James or a Paul George or somebody. And then the Pelicans, I just really want to see LeBron. I think the Pelicans, they're already a very good team. They're heading in the right direction. They're kind of missing that small forward spot. And here's LeBron James, going to be a free agent. You don't get Cousins back. I think you can make some moves to get LeBron James onto that team. I don't know why they're not discussed more. I'm not ruling them out because it just makes so much sense to me. And the Spurs thing, I think that doesn't make as much sense as the Pelicans, but I could see all these meetings the Spurs and Kawhi are having. Maybe they're telling them, we're going to bring somebody in. We're going to make you happy here. Which I don't know why he's really not that happy. You know, the Spurs, it can't be from there because they're not winning because he hasn't really been on the court. And you know the Spurs just like that could go to a winning team so easily. Or, I mean, more than they already are a winning team, but you know what I mean, contender. So I don't really know what he's unhappy about, if all that's true. So that's another interesting topic. But LeBron James could go back to the Cavs. They could make some big moves and get him back. Maybe he can't leave Cleveland again. The Rockets, Chris Paul has been recruiting them. I know that's a very appealing spot. They got to be the favorites, either them or the Warriors, to win it all if LeBron goes there. The Sixers, they're doing a lot of campaigning, basically. They're trying to recruit LeBron James all over the city. And I don't know if, like I mentioned in LeBron James free agency prediction video we did a few days ago, as I started thinking about it, I don't know if that's really a good thing because I think he already decided where he's going. I think these teams have a good idea if they're getting him or not. For the Sixers to be doing all that recruiting can't be good. I don't know. I really thought he was going to go to the Sixers all along. I thought he was going to go to the Sixers, but now I'm starting to think that's not really a good thing. That must mean they really have to try to get him because it's not looking good. Or maybe they were doing that regardless. Maybe they know they're getting him and they're just doing that for fun. I don't know. But take it how you want to take it. But as of now, it really sounds like he's going to L.A. So if I had to put my money on it, it would be L.A. But again, I think he already knows. I really think he knows already. Maybe he can't leave Cleveland again. They got to make a lot of moves, dump a lot of cap. We talked about the Lakers possibly might have to do that if they're bringing in these big name guys. I mean, there's a few teams willing to take in the bad cap for picks or young assets out there. I've heard the Hawks, the Kings, the Bulls. So go call those teams. I'm sure they already have, but we'll see. If he ends up with the Cavs with another superstar, I guess that'll be kind of a wild card too, but I'm not ruling him out. But right now, it sounds like the chances are with the Lakers, but you never know. Zach LaVine. Only two teams on the right of him. It's the Chicago Bulls, his current team, but he is a restricted free agent, and the Sacramento Kings. Kings been linked to him. I've seen different rumors. That's why I don't know if it's 100% true. I've seen they could give him over $100 million, which is insane. And then I've seen $80 million. That sounds more like it. Bulls want him back. They made him a restricted free agent. They want him back. But what will they pay? That's the question. I don't know if they were playing him right. I don't know if he really fits the Bulls' offense all that much. They're better with him. He's a great player. They really need, with him off the team, they need a 2 and a 3. Their future looks bright at point guard, power forward, and center spot. So they need a 2 and a 3. I think they would like to have him back, but I've heard the Bulls fear a Western Conference team is more likely to get him, and the Kings make sense. They can pay him a lot of money, but they're also interested in other somewhat younger guys like LaVine that are already proven pretty much. Teams I haven't heard anything about, but I wanted to put in here that made sense to me. The Hawks have a ton of money. Why not go for a guy like Levine? I think he can be part. I mean, the Bulls are in a rebuild process. I think he can be part of it. The Spurs, he can start at the 2 spot, I think, for the Spurs pretty early on. I think they would like to have him. I like him on that Spurs team. I think they can pay for him, too. If they lose Kawhi Leonard, they can get a Levine, maybe somebody else. Who knows? The Pelicans, I like the Pelicans for a lot of these guys. I mean, the Pelicans could use, I mean, if they don't get LeBron James, which is, they're probably not going to get LeBron James, even though I said I liked them there. They could use a 2 and a 3 shooting guard, small forward, so they can look for a guy like Levine. The Lakers are going to be mentioned on my video here a lot because this is if they miss on LeBron James or Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, can they bring in a few of these guys, or can they bring in a guy like this with maybe one of those guys like Paul George? Because they have the cap space right now. They may be in trouble with the cap space if they start bringing in those big-name guys. And the Mavericks, a good amount of cap space. I think he'd come in there and start right away at the 2 spot for them. So really the teams, I looked for fits in good cap space here. There's a lot of teams in trouble in their cap situation. More and more players are getting paid more and more every free agency, and some of these teams are really in trouble, some just average teams too. So really not a huge variety of teams right now, but like I said, a lot of teams want to cut players. They're willing to give up future picks. Kind of a messy situation, but they're willing to do it. Like I said, just teams that are playoff. The Blazers are a team that stands out to me. They have Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum, a great backcourt duo. A team like the Wizards, same thing, great backcourt duo. Their salary situation's not looking good, and they need to fill out the 3, 4, 5 spot on their teams to be a contender, and they have superstars on their team. So teams like that need to figure it out, and kind of a messy situation. There's more than just those two. Those are the ones that come in my head. So we'll see. On Aaron Gordon, teams he's linked with, obviously his current team, the Orlando Magic, and the Pacers said they're going to go for him, even though they're bringing back Thaddeus Young, similar position. They could still go for him. So really the only team linked to him right now is the Pacers, but you have to talk about the Magic too. He could go back to them. Teams that I'm also looking at, teams with a good amount of cap space. The Lakers come up again if they don't get the big-name guys, or maybe if they get one big-name guy, they bring in Aaron Gordon too, but they do have Julius Randle to get back, similar position. Obviously, Aaron Gordon viewed as a better player. I think the Nets would be a good fit. They have the cap. The Suns, they got Marquise Chris, good future there. Foul trouble is always a question, so maybe they can bring in more of a sure thing power forward alongside DeAndre Ayton. Mentioned the Mavs, got a lot of cap space. The Sixers could be a wild card team in there. Aaron Gordon's a guy, I mean, good, stepped up last year, but maybe a guy that I think, in my opinion, may get, we got to wait and see, but he may get overpaid a little bit. That's just my opinion, so we'll see what happens. Do the Pacers try to bring in a guy like this? Is that to make it more appealing for Paul George to come back, possibly? He hasn't really been linked to the Pacers all that much. Paul George, that is. Aaron Gordon has been linked to the Pacers. So we'll see. But they did bring Thaddeus Young back in pretty good-sized contract there. So do they bring in another power forward here? On to Julius Randle. Similar situation, similar position. Could go back to the Lakers. I think we're going to wait and see. He could be a wait and see. The Lakers really got to either know now or they got to figure out who they're getting fast, because if they sit around, obviously they're going to wait to see who they get, big name guys wise, before they try to get Julius Randle back. But if they sit around too long, he could be going to one of these other teams. I really like Julius Randle for the Mavericks. He's young. He can fit that rebuild. The rebuild's going very nicely over there. Dennis Smith just drafted. Luka Doncic too. Looking good. So Julius Randle could be a guy. I really like him on the Mavs. So if the Lakers sit around, wait too long, he could just go elsewhere. We will see what happens there. But obviously the Lakers come back and get him a match the deal or better deal possibly. But they're going to take their time trying to figure out who they're getting there. Other teams I can see going for him. I think the Jazz are a team to look out for. Pretty solid cap situation. They don't have Gordon Hayward to pay, obviously. They could lose Favors too. So, losing him gets more cap space there. So they could get a guy like this or can get Favors back. The Pacers, if they don't land Aaron Gordon, maybe they go for Julius Randle. Maybe that's plan B. That's just a feeling of mine, just a prediction. Hawks, another team that have a lot of cap space, so they can make a move for a young guy that can be part of a rebuild. Suns and Magic. Magic, similar situation with Aaron Gordon. If they don't get Aaron Gordon back, get a guy like Julius Randle, because they are also in a rebuild type of situation. So mainly rebuild teams, cap space teams here for a young guy like Julius Randle. Isaiah Thomas, where will he go? I haven't really heard anything about Isaiah Thomas. Can he still be legit point guard? I mean, it was just a year ago where he was tearing it up with the Celtics. So really on the right side are teams that I think have it's the same situation, but none of these teams have been linked to him exactly. I really like him on the Knicks. I think the Knicks will make an offer. They'll try to get him. The Suns need a point guard. Maybe they'll be looking for more of a rebuild type point guard. Or a point guard that can fit in a rebuild. He's under 30 years old, so it could work out. Magic need a point guard, not a really appealing spot. Sixers, what's the deal with Fultz? Is Ben Simmons going to run the point? Are they going to be able to land LeBron, whoever, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard? So maybe that's kind of if Isaiah Thomas is still sitting there while the Sixers figured out what's going to happen with them, they pick him up. The Spurs could use another point guard. I like Dejounte Murray, but they can use more of a veteran, but they could just get Tony Parker back. They do have Patty Mills. So I like the Knicks and the Suns is most likely the two teams to go for Isaiah Thomas. Could he possibly go back to the Lakers or back to the Celtics even? I think it's unlikely. I was going to include them in here, but unlikely, I think. If I had to put money on it, it'd be the Knicks, I think. I think he would go to the New York Knicks. They need kind of a veteran point guard in there. So we'll see. Just another team that's probably in a rebuild situation, and they got Porzingis, so maybe they try. I'm sure the Knicks will try to get some of these superstar guys, but like they always do, but obviously don't think it'll work out too well. Maybe an underrated free agent here. Jabari Parker, not too many teams next to him. Has only been linked with his current team, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Sacramento Kings. They actually have high interest in him. And the team I want to throw in there was the Chicago Bulls. I think Parker was originally a small forward, could play the 3, kind of moved to that power forward spot, but I think could play either. The Bulls are missing a 3 spot, and being from Chicago, I think they have to have some interest, so I think they could bring him in there. I think that's a team to look out for, but really the only team that's linked to him is the Kings, have high interest in him, so we'll see if they make an offer to him. But if I had to put money on it, I think he goes back to the Bucks, but who knows? I mean, if he could stay healthy, I think he's very good. That's why I call him an underrated free agent, but we'll see. Hopefully he stays healthy. And we're on to our last free agent, Paul George, and I already have him in the Lakers uniform. I only got the Lakers on the right. That doesn't mean I'm saying 100% he ends up on the Lakers, but that's really the only thing we're hearing right now is Paul George linked with the Lakers. Obviously, the first priority is LeBron James or Kawhi Leonard. Which one of the two is it? But I think these guys got to know where they're going. I'm sure they've talked. Are they meeting up somewhere? But other teams I want to put on the board. Pacers. Could he go back to the Pacers? Got traded there. They win the deal, really, and they can get Paul George back with the pieces they got in the deal, like Oladipo. The Cavs, can't rule the Cavs out. They can make some moves, try to bring Paul George in to get LeBron back. The Spurs, same reason I talk about LeBron. Can the Spurs pull a wild card move? Don't trade Kawhi. Bring in a guy like this to play with Kawhi. The Sixers, there's been a lot of talk that a lot of these guys, maybe like LeBron James, won't really fit in with the Sixers. It doesn't really fit their offense. Well, I think Paul George does. So if they miss on LeBron, then Paul George maybe. That makes sense to me. And the Pelicans, I talked about the Pelicans before. I think they need, I think they need a 3, small forward. They could use a shooting guard. But if they get a solid player in one of those positions, they are legit. I mean, they could get DeMarcus Cousins back, but in the playoffs we saw they were just better with Anthony Davis at the 5, Mirotic at the 4. I believe Etuan Moore was starting at the 3, which he is more of a guard. He's a 2 guard probably. Used to be a point guard, but so if they bring in a guy like Paul George in there with Jrue Holiday, do they get Rondo back and won't be too much money to get him back? That'll be a scary team. That'll be a very, very good team. They were very impressive to me this past year, but they could get Cousins back. Could go for, like I said, LeBron James. Unlikely, but Pelicans, I think that's a team to look out for me, and they should be the team to look out for. But do they even try to go for these teams? These players even consider going to the Pelicans? I sure hope they do. I'm not a Pelicans fan, but they have an opportunity over there to do something good here. Not hearing much on them. But that'll do it. We'll try to keep you posted. We got other free agent predictions, just player by player. A few more to come to the channel. Plenty of just overall sports content. We got World Cup stuff on the channel, NFL, plenty of NFL content, and more to come for all sports. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already. Our goal is 10K subscribers. Please help us out. But that'll do it for this one. Goodbye.